The stomach rules us. Taste rules us. A lot of cancers are directly related to food. Childhood obesity, which is endangering our nation. A child is not parental property. He or she has a separate body. It's a parent's responsibility to guard that body, to allow its space to grow. It's the opium of the day, not the mobile or the electronic device. Bachcha chup ho jata hai. Main thing with kids is that they have forgotten how to play. We can expect more and more diseases. And unless we slow down the pandemic of diabetes, obesity, more and more small infections are going to turn lethal on us.
Hello everyone, this is Jaskiran Kapoor, Jas Talking. And with me is a very, very intelligent, very sharp, very lovely person. And she's compassionate, full of humor, full of insights that we are going to get today. Kalpish Ratna is what she wants to go by, Dr. Kalpana Swaminathan, pediatric surgeon, writer, detective of finding out diseases, the origin of diseases,
yes,
how they are also part of us, part of environment, where do they come from, why do they come, what is the, why are they here, wo apni jagah bana rahe hain, and we are getting used to it. So, and a lot about the food, the science behind it, the philosophy behind it, and we are what we eat, or we are what we consume, I'm saying it metaphorically also. So, Dr. Kalpish Ratna, and they are here. So, Ishrat Syed, Dr. Ishrat Syed is the one she has written the book with, Gastronama. First, we will start with Gastronama, Dr. Saab. Please, can you tell me about the book and the entire philosophy behind it?
Okay.
What are we aiming at?
Okay. Now, Gastronama, as the name suggests, like Shahnama, is the story of the stomach.
Okay.
So what does the stomach say in answer to what we push into it every day? The stomach rules us. Taste rules us.
Yes.
It makes us happy or it makes us very sad.
Yes.
So how do we keep it happy? Because your stomach keeps you happy. Stomach's happy, you're happy. That's what Gastronoma is all about.
So the gut is also the second brain. It's
the
called
gut is
the gut and
probably
the
the
brain.
first
gut,
brain.
heart, brain.
That I'm delighted that you brought that matter up. I was trying to, come slowly to it, but fatak se aapne keh diya. And it's most important because today we know that the microbiome, which is the bacterial flora which lives inside our intestine,
the happy, healthy
microbe, is the real brain. Even the brain is controlled by it because now we know that brain diseases like Parkinson's disease, like Alzheimer's disease, like depressions, like schizophrenia, are all connected with abnormalities in the gut-brain axis.
That's revelating.
So, unfortunately, these diseases are regarded as separate from nutrition.
Okay.
And very few people have become savvy to the fact that they aren't really diseases which begin in the brain. They're diseases that begin in the gut. Now, the gut is a very long place. But we say stomach because everybody says pet. Now, when you say
पूजा कर लेते हैं.
हाँ, पूजा भी करते हैं और कभी लड़ते भी हैं पेट से या पेट लड़ते हैं हमसे. Okay? तो वो पेट कौन सा भाग है वो लोग नहीं कहते. They will tell you I have an upset stomach, but it is the top end or the bottom end. We have to find out slowly from them before they. So when we talk about the gut, we're talking the whole thing. And when we're talking disease, any disease, we're not talking disease, we're talking person. So if you say illness, it is the person's experience. If it is disease, it is what doctor has put a label on top of it. Label तो ठीक है, लेकिन अनुभविक जो होता है वही सच है. So whatever the label is, supposing somebody says it's an incurable disease, the person is still suffering, no? So that suffering has to be addressed. So that is the way we feel that it's a better approach. You feel what your patient is feeling. That is what you have to work at, not the blood report. As we constantly say, we never treat blood reports.
So you go by the emotion.
Not the emotion. You come to me saying your stomach is paining. Now I have to take away that pain, no? I have to do something to reduce your pain,
Yes.
or no?
Is it this dialogue from Pico film? I'm going to say a little, motion se emotion hai. So if your motion is right, you say, pet theek hai, pet saaf ho gaya. Like when
But that's very true.
when I had my baby, when she cried and she passed her first motion, so doctor says, system chalu ho gaya hai. So congratulations. It's a good sign.
Well, yes, of course it's a good sign.
That's the first thing, and I found it so. I said this was important for them. That when we have surgeries, did you pass your urine? Did you pass the
Yes,
motion?
always.
That means your system is chalu.
Yes.
So in Gastronama, how do we make this system a part of us and and make it
The book
chalu?
is just about that.
That
The entire book is just about that because it does not separate your digestion from your lungs, from your brain, from your kidneys. It tells you that basically your body runs on energy.
yes,
You eat food to produce energy. So energy is necessary for every cell in your body to act, to
Yes.
do all your functions.
yes,
So the book is about how this becomes energy. This is food, this is energy. So the invisible arc that connects the two is Gastronoma.
and food. How and where are we going with food? Because I've seen a rise in cancer in India, especially in Punjab, from where I come from. There's a steep rise, and you wonder that खाना तो ठीक था, तो सब lifestyle ठीक थी. Where are we going wrong? I see rise in I don't know how or if autism is connected. I see rise in a lot of issues, especially after 40. People start complaining of a lot of things, and loss of energy, loss of other bodily functions. You get tired faster. Is it somewhere connected to our gut and food? The
Totally.
food we eat. So if we can
Totally.
throw light on the food.
Okay, let's start with all the things that you mentioned sequentially. You started with cancers, okay? Now, a lot of cancers are directly related to food. Some are directly related to obesity. Some are related to particular sorts of food. Those are what we know. Now, in Tamil we have a saying which goes that what I have learned is a fistful of earth. What I don't know is a mighty ocean.
Yes.
So its medicine is exactly like that. We're celebrating, now we have conquered this. Next unconquered aake baja
COVID आ
deta hai
गया
tumhara,
था, बचा गया.
So the point is that when you know that there are contributory factors to one disease, often people come and say, तो करे क्या?
करें क्या?
करना बहुत है. It's there in the book. A few things that we know are wrong, we can stop those, no? And then see how you feel. The index of knowing you're on the right path is when you feel energetic and you feel good. You feel light.
And here also, you feel happy.
Most
Not
important,
depressed.
important is this. Not only are you happy, but you become interested in your surroundings. See, for instance, when your stomach is okay and you're happy, I know what she's wearing, I'm noticing. I've gone out of the room, you say, what was that lady wearing? I can tell you immediately. If I'm unhappy, कुछ नहीं दिखता है मुझे. हाँ, कोई कमरे में बैठी थी, लोग थे वहाँ,
Senses
कौन
are
था?
dulled.
Senses are dulled, absolutely. So you're living deprived of pleasure in every form.
And life is supposed to be enjoyed.
Absolutely.
We're denying ourselves the pleasure.
Yes. We're denying
By
ourselves a
not
great
eating right.
pleasure. By not eating right.
How do we eat right? How would you educate someone that this is? Because I've seen, so we are strict with our kid. But I've seen mothers, or I will not blame them. I don't know. I will not put the blame. But I see there's so much in the market in terms of fast food, in terms of preservative-laden food, in terms of this canned food, and अच्छा चलो smiley बना दी, अच्छा चलो chips खा ली, अच्छा चलो ice cream खा ली. And there is at age 10, 11 liver problems, pre-onset of early diabetes at 11, 12. You are hitting your periods at 11, 12.
Absolutely.
You're maturing. So I want you to tell people how it is directly connected to what you're putting in that child's mouth. कि दे दो, बस खिला दो सारा. Like my they say कि सारा, my husband always says कि सारा focus खाने पे नहीं होना चाहिए. Let the child breathe and just digest it for 4 to 5 hours at least.
That's absolutely it. पहला खाना पेट से निकला नहीं तो दोबारा आ जाता है अंदर.
We are obsessed with just feeding.
Yes, we are obsessed with that. So there are two ways, and we discuss both in the book. The first is food should be deprived of emotional baggage.
All right.
Okay? Food is food. Parental love is separate from food. The parent loves the child because of every reason, okay? But above the love, the first wish for the parent is that the child should have a long and wonderful life.
Healthy life.
Okay? So the first thing for the parent to do is to ask herself or himself, is this going to affect my child's health? If it's going to affect my child's health, I will not give it to my child. Now, dealing with children, I have found is the easiest thing in the world.
Is it?
Very easy. The parent usually brings the child saying, I'll listen to you, doctor, but my child, who will explain to him?
Yes.
This is the main problem.
They throw tantrum, the mother's given.
Yeah. So the way to deal with a child is to talk to the child, so that the child, if a child is the person whom you are addressing. See, as a pediatric surgeon, I've dealt only with kids for a long time, and painfully, because surgical procedures are scary.
Yes, yeah.
And I have found the easiest way is to involve the child in the first discussion. It's about the child. You don't tell the parents, I'll explain to you, choo choo, bahar ja. Nahi. So the child understands the procedure, understands what is happening, is never afraid, and usually asks you questions.
They're curious.
Very curious.
I think we underestimate a child's intelligence.
Completely.
And
Now,
understanding.
Can I give you one example?
Yes.
I had this little one who was about 5 and immensely overweight. So she told me, after we'd known each other for a month, she said, I got one plan and I've been doing it. I said, what are you doing? So she said, there are 5 kids in our group. We play. So earlier, everyone used to get 1 roll of biscuits. Now, only one person brings 1 roll of biscuits every day. We rotate. So everybody has 1 biscuit. Smart. But how come none of us adults thought of it? That 5-year-old thought of it. She made the plan. And the other thing of great wisdom I got from an older child is, 1 birthday a year is great. But in my class, we have 7 birthdays a week.
Yes, there's so many parties. You have to tell the child, nahi khana.
You cannot tell the child, nahi khana. You have to tell the parent, no party. That, and you see, it becomes a question of the parent feeling that why should I deprive my child? All other children are getting it. So we do have a special chapter on birthday cake in our book, which ends with a terrible line. It is so terrible that I will not repeat it on camera, but it is the perfect truth. I'll say it if you like.
Yeah, say it, please say it.
Yeah, it says that when you wish a long and happy life for your loved one, please do not serve up a slice of death. Because if you're going to buy one of those frothy big birthday cakes,
Yes.
first
Fondant and so much cream in it.
Yes, first learn how to make one yourself. You don't have to make it. Just go to YouTube or something, find out कि उसमें क्या-क्या होता है. And then you think, ये ठीक है, ये ठीक है, ये ठीक है. No? And don't say बस एक ही तो slice खा ले. एक slice में इतना होता है. 1 week's खाना in your home does not have the fat value of that 1 slice, 1 wedge of cake your child will eat.
So do you think that we, when we talk about academics in school and we say catch them young, should there be an education about it?
How absolutely on spot you are
Should
there.
we encourage, like we say,
We
good touch,
have
bad touch, तो
schools-
सिखा रहे हैं.
schools
So
must
good
have
food, bad
this.
food भी सिखाना चाहिए.
Good food, bad food नहीं. ये होना है कि children should be taught to be curious about food. So there are ways of doing it. Children love to experiment and find out things.
Yes.
They like to have puzzles. They like to have games. कि इसमें क्या है, इसमें क्या है, ये क्या होता है उसमें? How much should you have? And you will
That's
find.
how we grow and find out things because they connect
Exactly.
us to the future.
Exactly. For instance, one thing that I notice is children can be terrible tyrants also. Some of their parents are patients
bullied.
of mine. And they come and they say, Doctor, she won't tell you, but that's what she's been doing. So the parent gets scared of the kid, but the kid watches.
I do sometimes.
So you see, children are the easiest people to get along with. And therefore, we have to become nationally conscious of the frightful thing of childhood obesity, which is endangering our nation. And we have this terrible situation where we have starving children on one hand and children who are stuffed with things which are wrong for them, and both are equally sick. And we are a nation who does not care for our children. We do not care for our children. All our policies are anti-child. A child is not given personhood in India. Maybe it is in other countries. I don't know. I've never lived or practiced medicine anywhere else. But here, a child is not given personhood. A child is not parental property. He or she has a separate body. It's a parent's responsibility to guard that body, to allow it space to grow. And I do feel that if every adult believed that every child is your own child, it will change child health in India. But that's not happening.
How do you propose that to happen at policy level? Or
I have
at
no idea.
CBSE,
See, at policy level,
education department level?
At education department level is very easy. What you need is, there should be no barriers between children. Now, food is the biggest barrier in our country because it's a cultural barrier. The habit to eat together should be encouraged. There should never be any scorn or there should be no comment about what the other person's eating. There should be a complete independence allowed to anyone to make a choice of what they eat.
Yes.
You can't say, नहीं हम ऐसे नहीं खाते, हम ऐसे नहीं खाते. खा लिया तो क्या हो गया? कुछ नहीं हुआ. So the fear that's put into a child's mind. In our previous book, we quoted a terrible and true incident of a municipal school in Bombay, where pre-primary children who come from pretty low-income homes were given a free meal in school from a very good, dependable source. And the first day, the kids loved it. The second day, they all refused to eat. Third day, so the teachers started getting worried. And they said, if you don't eat, bring dabba. No dabba. They came with 5 rupees or 10 rupees and they went and ate rubbish outside. So they called the parent. And they asked the parents, why are your children not eating this food? So they said, we told them not to eat.
Okay.
So then they asked, why? And they said, we don't know who's giving the food. We don't know who's cooked it. So then when the headmistress spoke to me, she was crying. She was a woman of my age, and she said, what do I do with them?
With the discriminatory attitude.
Yes.
That also changes a lot of things, you know.
It puts the idea into the child's eye. Now, can you imagine a 6-year-old who's hungry? She wants to eat her food, but her parent has said कि मना है, तो वो नहीं खाती है.
इस कुएं से पानी नहीं पीना.
हाँ.
ये कब हटेगा?
हाँ, ये कब हटेगा?
इसके ग्लास को अलग रखना.
ये कब हटेगा? यही है.
You know, ये भी नहीं है. You know, when you come, I don't know about South India, but in North, girls are not given much of non-veg or eggs. के गर्माइश पैदा करती हैं. They will have their periods early.
Don't worry, the South, I can quote you a million instances.
Boys are given separate glass of whole पूरा. इसको दूध पिलाओ. है ना? इसको मक्खन घी खिलाओ, पिन्नियाँ बनाओ. उसको नहीं देना लड़की को. कि वो अगर मोटी हो गई, शादी नहीं होगी, ये सब नहीं देना. You know, girls नहीं खाती ये सब. So this block, this horrendous block, I don't understand. How are we going to fight this?
We have to fight this because this is misogyny. All right? Now, both of us, Ishrat and I, we constantly are making the statement with proof positive, like what you said, that misogyny may have been invented by men, but it is upheld and perpetuated by women in our country.
Yes.
Yeah. So if we have to save ourselves from this, from our children from this, then we have to stop doing it ourselves.
Yes.
As simple as that. So we cannot, for instance, I mean, there have been recently so many political instances, so I won't take up your time by telling you that. But if all of us looked at the fact that we have fought hard. You and I may not have, but our mothers did, our grandmothers did. We are here standing our ground because of the way they battled a system which is so horrendous. How can we allow that system to still be there today?
Yes.
We have to fight that at every point. So this thing which you said is kuएं की पानी मत पीना. In every village in India, you will find this still. And what is a city full of? People who come from the villages. It's the same. The attitudes are the same.
Yes, it doesn't even when I think who was speaking, Ujjwal Dosanji, that when you go abroad, they carry this.
They carry
overseas
this with
also.
them.
They carry this thought process,
yes,
this mentality.
Yes.
And I don't know why, but in the kitchen, why if we are spending so much money, then why don't we just buy the right produce? We just cook it right.
Yes.
And we feed it right, and we feed this mind also, the right thing.
Yes, and I think the idea there is that sometimes in the kitchen, it's a carryover from what you think कि ऐसे ही करना है.
Yes, हमारे तो ऐसे ही चलता
हाँ,
है.
ऐसे. Then you can't break that tradition.
And you can't put ghee aside and get cold pressed oils.
Yeah, but you don't even remember what the tradition was. किसी ने कहा तुमसे. And they were managing a different life, a different time.
Yes, I agree.
Okay. Now, there's a question that I'm constantly asking people because we want people to look at it this way, like, how long is an Indian adult, say of 20 years today, a young adult, how long does he or she expect to live? When I ask one of these people, the answer usually is a very hesitant 60.
Yes.
60,
Alarming.
I'm 66. You're telling me that?
That at least expiry date.
Yes. But apart from that, some go to 80 and that's it. So when I tell them that you're expected to lead an active life if you're 20 now to at least 110, they look at me as if I've gone bonkers. But really, that's what's going to happen. I mean, look, for instance, you see, medical attitudes which doctors project are generally 50 years behind time. Okay? Gynecologists are still telling us in menopause, everybody knows that menopause is just the midpoint of life and there's a great life beyond it.
No, वो उसको end कर देते हैं वहाँ. Look, you've got this.
Yes.
बस
Why are you still around like,
भजन कीर्तन करो.
Exactly.
It ends all urges, it ends your womanhood. It's like now you are this.
And then contrast it with the reality where women are doing everything in our country.
Yes.
There is not a job right from setting a spaceship off to doing the basic labor that women are not doing. But वो नजर में क्यों नहीं आ रहे हैं? बच्ची को देखते ही शादी की सोच क्यों? Is that the only life for a child? When I get angry with mothers who teach their daughters घर के काम. क्या जरूरी है उनको? जब नौबत आएगी सीख जाएगी. अभी से क्या उसको लगाने?
Yes, I agree.
The world is free for her. Let her go and learn other things.
Or either you do a whole skill set training in school for all kids. How to fix a bulb, how to fix a tire, how to
everything.
do it. We have to upgrade them. You will not get workforce in the future. You will have to do it yourself.
Exactly.
And another thing I keep I keep pushing children to go play in the park. We used to as kids play in the park. And they leave your mobiles or your TV or Netflix, everything. You're not getting vitamin D. You're not getting the sun. You're sitting inside. Then they say, I read somewhere that children like sugar because they're burning a lot of energy. When we were kids, we used to run a lot, the energy was burnt. So we never got those problems.
In a simplistic way,
the
what you're saying is
physical activity is zero now.
Yeah, so that's the main thing. Main thing with kids is that they have forgotten how to play.
Yes.
And or more than forgetting how to play, they have forgotten idleness.
Yes. Out of doing nothing.
Yes, the joy of doing nothing.
The joy of
yeah? Now holidays are so structured.
They need engagement. Constant engagement is dangerous.
It's very dangerous.
Because I had to tell my daughter, sit still. She says, why? I said, kuch nahi karna. Just sit. So we started with 5 minutes, 10 minutes. I said, you can sit in the playroom, do whatever you want to with the doll, pick a book. But you have to sit there without friends, without mama, papa. Sit. You have to do it. So now we're getting used to it now. But it took time, I bet
took
2
time,
weeks,
but
habit was broken.
A few parents would do what you're doing. Very few. They are happy. That keeps it's the opium of the day, not the mobile or the electronic device. Bachcha chup ho jata hai. Earlier they used to give that Bal Amrit, or in those things, all those little
Janam Gutti.
All those. They were given to the babies to keep it quiet, just opium. All right.
Yes.
So now it's a mobile. Haath mein mobile.
In villages they give little muffin they put in the mouth. When
they do, but अगर वो नहीं भी करते मोबाइल दे देते हैं बच्चे.
Now mobile is there.
It's the opium of the day.
That's another food that they are consuming.
Absolutely.
It's damaging them.
Yes, absolutely.
It is a consumption at the end of the day.
It is.
So you are also, like when you keep exploring these topics, were you born with this curiosity? You're still a child. Are you a detective yourself?
Yes.
Keep looking for things.
Yes, I mean, I think all of us do.
Because Dr. Swaminathan has written the Lali detective series also, and a lot of books, 12 books in there.
Yes, and Ishrat and I, for the last 20 years, we have been concerned with seeing how diseases come about.
Yes, we'll come.
And when we do that, we have to get curious. Why did this happen here? So we did that, in fact, when, I don't know if you remember the Zika epidemic in Brazil.
Yes.
Yes, and a horrendous fallout. So when we read the first reports in December 2015, the actual medical reports, as pediatric surgeons, we were appalled because we have dealt with children who are born with these kind of brain anomalies. So we actually tracked day by day of that disease throughout the following year to see what happened. And to us, the connect was very, very easily made. We wrote a book about it, The Secret Life of Zika Virus. And the connect was very easily made. It was the destruction on the Amazon rainforest.
Yes.
You could actually see the geographic line of the eruption of the disease and the part of destruction of the forest. So we have changed the mosquito habitat and you have produced this. So there are, in every disease that you see, the COVID was absolutely disaster waiting to happen. Now, India, for instance, we have bats everywhere. There is no country in this world, apart from maybe the Arctic and Antarctic, which doesn't have bats.
Yeah,
bats are never visible because they're nocturnal creatures.
Yes.
But when you look for them in dark buildings and high ceilings, you will find them everywhere.
Even trees, we went to Goa, they were there.
Yes, they are there,
trees.
Always. And even if you don't see them, in the morning you will find the fruit they have half eaten and thrown on the ground. So you know that somebody has been
hanging
there.
up there.
Yeah. So let them be. But if you break into their habitat, if you cut down their trees, if you build into their areas, they will come to your house. You go to their house, they'll come to your house. No?
True.
See the
Where will they go?
Yeah.
Same is with leopards, tigers, lions. Same with every
Same
habitat.
thing. Yes.
We are the encroachers.
We are the encroachers, without question. And more government policies ignore this. So we can expect more and more epidemics of viruses we have never known.
Now melting ice caps.
Yes,
they're releasing
of
more.
course. Yes, now those melting ice caps, we don't know what lies beneath.
Lot
we
of
don't
dead
know.
bodies.
Yes, no, dead bodies will be there, but they also will release a lot of organisms which exist in nature.
Yes.
See, all viruses and bacteria have existed in nature long before we arrived.
And they're resilient. They're stronger than us in some way.
Of course they are. And they're also part of our bodies. We have mitochondria, which actually were bacteria or part of viruses or part of some kind of nucleic acid organisms earlier.
We are sum total of cells.
We are. We are. Of other cells.
Yes.
Yeah. So we have to look at a kind of truce with nature. And we have to lose this aggressive, arrogant swagger of ours, saying that we are the lords of creation. We aren't. It takes just one speck of RNA to tell you that, isn't it?
Yes, it does.
Yeah.
In fact, now the ecological thing, the climate change that you've talked, we've seen the hazard in Himachal that has happened.
Oh my God, yes.
And what hell it unleashed. This is just the brink on which we are sitting.
Yes.
And you were right. We should be bracing ourselves for more. We need to slow down our greed.
Definitely. Unless we slow down our greed globally, we can expect more and more diseases. And unless we slow down the pandemic of diabetes, obesity, more and more small infections are going to turn lethal on us. So it's not a question of what's coming next.
Question of what we are doing now.
No, it's a question of how will our bodies react to it. See, because all disease depends on your response to it. Anything may come, but you should be fairly able to deal with it. You can't be a sitting duck. Right now, most of us are sitting ducks.
I know when we read about medical research, I think they've now realized that for women it has to be separate, for men separate, for children separate, how a disease responds to each body.
No,
like heart attacks for women and men are different.
I don't think.
You don't think so? It's
No,
the same.
it's the same. But now people have started realizing that women are also human beings.
Yes.
तो अब तक तो उनको ये पता
तो
नहीं था
सफोला
ना.
उनके लिए भी होना चाहिए.
हाँ.
Heart
So,
healthy.
you see, when we were in medical college, the kind of misogyny which was perpetrated or inherent to every medical principle is unimaginable. Unimaginable. Okay? And when it came to Indian women, it was even worse. And we were all Indian women, but the textbook was British. Okay. So then, whatever the textbook said could be diluted a little bit more and say, oh, for Indian women, 9 hemoglobin is fine. We're fine.
No, it's not.
Okay. How is it? When it comes to Indian motherhood, I've actually heard a pediatrician, senior pediatrician say, even if she is dying, she will produce breast milk. Why worry? Look at the callousness inherent in this view. So, women doctors must recognize that their patients are women too.
True. So much to talk about things. We'll talk more once another book is coming about now.
Yes, we have an exciting book coming about. Can I tell you something about
Yeah, do. Please
It
do.
has nothing at all to do with medicine, but it is about a strange young man who has been neglected by history. Nobody's heard of him. Have you? His name is Bahadur Shah. Have you heard of him?
If you're talking about Bahadur Shah Zafar, then
No,
yes.
I'm not. I knew. You fell for it. Everybody has heard of Bahadur Shah Zafar.
Yes.
We sing him. Yes.
So who is Bahadur Shah?
We have not heard of Bahadur Shah of Gujarat.
Okay.
Now, he was a rebellious, feckless, completely messed up teenager of about 18 at the time when the Lodi succession was in trouble in Delhi. And Babur was sitting there saying, should I come, should I not come? Now, what will you say if I tell you that the fate of the Battle of Panipat actually hung on this messy young teenager? Would you believe it?
No, because we are only taught to learn the date कब हुआ था Battle of Panipat. क्यों हुआ था? कैसे हुआ था? What was the strategy? That no one's taught.
No, but you may be curious enough to know.
I am now very curious.
Even the historians neglect this fellow.
Okay.
He is only mentioned by Portuguese historians who talk about him as avara, useless, drunken, drug addict, useless kind of thing. So Indian historians also repeat the same thing. But if you read the Indian histories written by Arab historians around his time, like Mirate Sikandri, like Farishta, you will find out the truth about him. And it's a remarkable life.
How did you stumble upon him?
Well, actually, we read about the Portuguese history because we are interested in that period. And we are working for a long time on the biography of a Portuguese botanist who lived in India for 30 years and wrote a book. It was the third book published in India in 1563.
Okay.
And it was about Indian plants. So we are interested in his life. So, पढ़ते पढ़ते बीच में आ गया.
How do you get the energy to do so many things, write, explore?
We like to do it.
You like to do it.
We like to do it, yes. It's what we've been doing for a long time. So,
how is history connected to Gastronama? There is a lot of history to the food and all? Where
no,
it comes
nothing.
From?
In the book, there is no history.
Ayurveda and what our Dadi Nani did was very good.
Yes, we have all that. I also have a little bit of, not much I would say, but 2 years of Ayurvedic learning. So I have all the texts which I've read. And
You're,
so I'm very impressed and interested in these systems, in all systems of medicine. Ishrat knows a lot about Arab medicine, so there's that. And we are very excited about medieval medicine because of all European also, which it is an interesting thing because you see how people looked at life. You also see we are still using the same drugs they were using, maybe in a different way. And maybe we haven't yet looked at things which they have seen.
what got you interested in the medical profession to become a pediatric surgeon?
Yes, actually, I suppose there is that. I always wanted to be a doctor, so I joined medical school. But in the first year of medicine, when you're doing anatomy, sometimes you're introduced to, you're learning the normal body. So sometimes there are footnotes that tell you about the abnormal body also. So I, like Ishrat, we are both great readers of footnotes. So we read those footnotes. Then we went and checked out those kids. So it was interesting. So when you see a child with a problem, you want to do something, you get curious. So we said, why not pediatric surgery?
Finally, for the audience out there, what should we eat to reach that 110? What should we imbibe?
What should you eat? You should eat food that you enjoy eating, but you also know what is in that, in what you eat. So just get curious about the food you're eating. Before you eat, take your next bite, just ask yourself, kya hai isme? And 110 kya, 120, you will be fine.
All right, and I hope you live to 220.
Thank
Such
you.
a lovely thing to meet you, Dr. Saab.
Same here.
And
it's been a pleasure.
Keep watching Just Talking, and we'll meet you again with more stories to consume.
Thank you.